Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Force Admiral, the new real-time simulation wargame out, which is in early access and looking at the carrier operations from the American point of view during World War II in the Pacific for 1941 and 42. This is episode number 4 of our Let's Play series of a new scenario which has come out for Midway, which adds 3 Japanese carriers to the fold: the Tsuikaku, the Junyo, and I believe a sister ship to the Shoho, so a light carrier and 2 fleet carriers. The Junyo is particularly interesting because it is a fleet carrier, but historically I think it was less well regarded. I think its air wing was a little bit smaller. In part, it struggled due to lack of high speed for launching heavy strikes, I believe. But my history with that carrier is pretty limited. Other than it came online during the war, and it was kind of a second-tier fleet carrier for the Japanese, at least in prestige. Obviously, it survived Midway because it was, I believe, in the north supporting the Aleutian diversion. But in any event, we're returning to this. If you haven't watched the last few episodes, we've crippled the Kiributai. Last episode, we for sure sank one, maybe a second Japanese carrier. At least 3 of their carriers are crippled. So the main fleet is kind of in the same situation as it was historically. I don't know if we'll sink all of them, but I certainly think we'll at least burn them out. And that's kind of historically what happened, and the Japanese would scuttle them. The challenge is the northern force with the Junyo and Tsuikaku has barely been scratched. We haven't been hurt yet either, except that our air wings have been bled pretty heavily. But the enemy force in the north is another 120 or so aircraft to direct against us. We survived through luck. They didn't find us with our first raid, but we're getting close to the point where they're going to be ready to turn around a second raid, and the Yorktown, which is our northernmost carrier, only has 9 fighters left. So we'll see if we can survive. We'll see how this plays out. This was taken from a live stream on my Twitch channel, so let's go ahead and jump back into that. Hope you guys enjoy as we're preparing for another strike on the Japanese task forces. You can see we've done 4 missions. 2 are currently active, 73 total sorties, 30 aircraft lost on the Hornet. We can actually go in here and take a look at the reports. So this scramble, if we go to the mission log, 22 Wildcats scrambled, 7 were damaged, 1 MIA. We claimed 4-0 shot down and 30. If we really shot down 30, because I know this is subject to fog of war, but if we really shot down anything like, 30 Kates and 20 Vals, then we hurt their air wings worse than I saw. That doesn't mean we didn't, but I don't recall seeing those kind of losses. Granted, I was watching the actual bombing raids. We don't have a mission log for these guys? Oh, it says they're en route. Well, that's not... I think they're back by now. Strange. Maybe they're still on deck, so they haven't debriefed. What about the other scramble here? 2 zeros destroyed, 13 Vals, 2 float planes. I mean, I'll take it. $11 zeros and 1 Kate destroyed. Meanwhile, we also put 3 bombs in 1 carrier, 7 bombs, 1 torpedo in another carrier. 1 bomb, 1 torpedo in another carrier. That actually closely matches to what we saw on the strategic or on the map when we looked. How did the cap go? 0, 3 Kates, 4 Vals, 1 float plane. Okay, what about Yorktown? How did their boys do? Their cap didn't do as well. No, they all survived. Destroying 1 float plane. Now strikes debriefing right now. 3 bombs, 9 bombs, 4 bombs. They definitely overstate the bomb hits. But if our scrambles did anything like the damage reported here, then the Japanese air wing had got much worse off than we. Saw. Yorktown's been the busy bee, 114 sorties. The other guys are only in the 70s. Granted, that's because we're spotting this. I guess they count sorties for raids that haven't taken off yet. All right. All right, so the dive bombers have taken off. I think these guys are still retrieving some aircraft. But the dive bombers from Midway have taken off. I hope they adjust the estimated course of the enemy based on... Well, actually, where are our float planes? Okay, they just left. Okay, dive bombers are out. Bombs were signal yellow and light gray until April of 42. Navy had great quantities of yellow bombs in stock. Interesting. Why were they yellow? Was the thought you could spot them better? Maybe? All right, I think those are the torpedo bombers coming back. Really would prefer if you guys clear your deck a bit. Yorktown is spotting. Okay, so Yorktown is almost ready to start launching for her strike. Yorktown's the busy bee of this operation. Turning into the wind. Well, they finished spotting up. We're not sending any escorts out again. Good to go, boys. Oh, do I have to issue the takeoff order? Sometimes I have to do that, and sometimes I don't. I know it's based on the way I set it up, but I don't know. It says they're taking off. Can you hear me over the rum of 60 engines or 40 engines or whatever this is? I think, honestly, takeoffs are one of my favorite things in this game. I assume these are all fighters below decks. I can't see through the deck beams. Off they go into the wild blue yonder, flying high. I'm sure the Navy would appreciate it. Okay, planes are getting up. What about the Japanese? What are they up to these days? These guys are getting in close. Looks like they're still recovering. Maybe they're waiting for a flight or two to come back. Oh, they're definitely still recovering aircraft. I mean, I know it takes a long time, but jeepers creepers, I've already launched 2 strikes on them. Granted, this is the first repeat strike. We're in the process, and we started our attack first. The juniors. What the heck? Nice graphical glitch. Look at that thing. How many propellers? All shall fear the hyper turbo prop. You cut off one propeller. These are the 3 northern carriers. Still 2 carriers in the south for sure. Where are they're turning back. Which makes me a little nervous. Where the Yorktown strike is going to fly to. Hopefully they spot them before they, which one of these is the newest? What are they doing here? That's the surface task force elements. I got to imagine the carriers don't have the speed after all those torpedo and bomb hits to launch strikes. Maybe get fighters up. I don't really know how the game models. Like, are you going fast enough to launch a strike? What's this? They didn't send a second raid to Midway, did they? Maybe just a scouting aircraft? I don't see them, whatever they are. And a flight of 2 is pretty hard to pick out. All right, are these the dive bombers then? Because they'll probably hit first. They sure look like it. Okay. I don't know if TF-16 is done recovering or not. Let's take a look. I still hear aircraft. No, still aircraft flying in for recovery. They did at least clear Hornet's deck. That's nice. Enterprise is definitely still recovering. I suppose we could, see if one of them is ready for a strike. Hornet still is recovering. She's only got 7 dive bombers. Jesus. But Enterprise has got 28 she could send out. Her torpedo bombers haven't gotten back yet or aren't ready yet or whatever. Hopefully they didn't get crushed. Well, they still got 23, so they didn't all like get ditched or anything. Okay, well, let's wait. Let's go ahead and speed things along, though, a little bit. So the bombers from Midway will arrive first. This guy's bombing target. Shit, bombs are away. This enemy carrier's maneuvering, though. She's definitely making a good speed. Can't imagine against a maneuvering target the bombs are going to do much. Assuming they're even dropping on her. I saw Whitecaps. They must have missed pretty badly. Okay. But let's follow the dive bombers. I've seen the Midway dive bombers at least do damage while the Yorktown launches. Whoa, I can do times 40? Okay. Are these guys ever going to land? What are they doing? Meanwhile, the Enterprise and Hornets torpedo bombers are landing, I think. Do 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 do. All right. Someday they'll end up attacking. All right, Yorktown's rate is up. And we still need to damage the 3 carriers to the north. Those guys are still fresh. I'm just mostly focusing on hammering the Kirubatai before she gets away. Okay. They're pretty close. They're getting close. A long day for the air wing, that's for sure. 10 o'clock and they're still not done yet. All right, en route to IP, so they're turning off their toward a target. This is the last plane in the formation by the looks of it. Now they're going to glide bomb. They're not going to dive bomb because these guys don't have the training to dive bomb. I'm going to follow the last one just so we can kind of watch it as the attack unfolds. Are those zeros? Yeah. Enemy zeros are attacking the formation, so they've got a cap up again. It's just a handful of them. I'm guessing only one of the carriers has a working flight deck, but you can see one of the bombers up there is smoking. Seems like it's just 2 or 3. That guy's dropping out of formation. I don't think there's any way it'll be enough to prevent us from attacking. I may not be last in line anymore either, now that we're aligning on a target. Probably this carrier down here. So the enemy has reformed its formation. That's still close to the end of the pack. Aircraft are diving over, or gliding over. They're still diving, but it's not, I don't think it's the same. But you can see we've got a pretty good formation all coming in down here. Just on a much less steep trajectory, which means that the enemy has more time to maneuver to avoid the bombs. They're less accurate this way too. But these are Marine pilots who don't have as much training as the naval aviators. Remember, they're flying out of Midway. Okay. You can see their escorts have a much sharper turn. The carriers, this guy has suffered, I haven't clicked on which guy it is, but either way, both of the remaining carriers we've seen have much more damage. So my hope is that we can get a more accurate, as I say that, they're way off on these first couple bombs. Maybe we can get a few bombs into her, I don't know. Let's hope. Look at how bad these spreads are. Not even a straddle. Oh, there's a couple close ones there on those last few passes. Still no hits. Those last couple of guys, though, definitely dropped close. There, one big hit off the front. Good job, Marine. You definitely dropped it way off. So we saw one good hit. But you know what? 2 hits. Maybe the last plane in the formation put one right in the center of the flight deck. Nothing below the waterline, so I don't know that she'll sink. But more damage done to her. She's burning, that's for sure. One on the corner of the flight deck, just off the meatball. One in the center of the flight deck. If she had a working flight deck, she does not right now. I suppose the fire could still cause her to sink, but... Alright, so the Midway boys are returning to base. They got 2 good hits, though. I'll take that. Where are the Yorktown's boys? Also, any chance these guys are launching a strike on us yet? That's the thing that could really turn this battle on its head, as if we had 120 aircraft come in on us. Well, they're prepping for a strike. You can see they're getting their aircraft on deck and ready. The light carrier's still landing, though. That must be for their combat air patrol. At least one of the CVs is prepping a strike. Jinyo is not. Okay, something to keep an eye on. We've got at least one carrier preparing to strike. Okay. I think we can probably start a strike with the Hornet and Enterprise now. I don't hear anything. Everybody is... Well, it's Yorktown. Debriefing. What is this en route? There's no way you'd still be up. Okay. All right. What do you mean I can't green light? Well, again, green light with an early departure, so the concern is that the torpedo bombers won't get there in time. How's Hornet? What's her air wing? Is it still just the 7 dive bombers? No, 7 and 11. Okay. Is that really all she's got left? She's got plenty of fighters. Okay. I mean, I'm turning him toward the return, so that should close the gap a bit. Then. What the hell's going on? Are Yorktown raids getting attacked by enemy fighters? Or at least some of them. Enemy fighters jumped our raid before it even got away from the carrier? I mean, it looks like most of them got out, but... that second squadron. I'm not prioritizing the northern group. I don't know. Because I want to finish off the southern group before they get away? I also think I'm worried about losing too many actually, the real reason is I'm worried about losing too many bombers to enemy fighters on an undiluted cap. And I want to keep my fighters in reserve to protect my own carriers from that enemy northern group. I suppose maybe that's a bad decision. But I'd like to finish the 2 southern carriers off, and then it doesn't matter how many casualties I take going to the north, whereas if I let the southern group get away, and I take a bunch of casualties going for the northern group, then by the time I turn to the southern group, I won't have the striking power left to finish them off. The dive bomber group from Midway already hit, and they dropped 2 bombs which hit. Is this guy pretending to be a fighter? Jesus, they're really shredding us. Where did these fighters come from? Like, they're just... Because, I mean, we're not anywhere close to the enemy task force yet. Like, this is a real far forward defense. This is what, 6 dive bombers lost? 7? A good chunk of it looks like at least one squadron is out ahead of the enemy attack. It's not Shokaku. I think it's Junyo, Hiryu, or Hiro? I'm not sure. Let's take a look. You tell me, Hauser. You're the expert. I don't know what this is. But whatever it is, they're preparing a strike. It's Suikaku, really? Okay. And then the other fleet is the not this one. This is a light carrier of some sorts. I really got caught off guard by that 4 deployed enemy combat air patrol. So they're going to start launching these guys shortly. We'll have to scramble off probably the Yorktown. We don't have enough fighters probably to save ourselves. But if it's just the one... They've got a merchant ship here? Seaplane tender maybe? Or it's got a long rail. So we got the Shokaku. Oh, there it says Shokaku. All right, so we got the Shokaku, the Junyo, and the Shoho. Well, the Shoho would have been sunk at Coral Sea, so obviously this is very hypothetical. But there's the Junyo. She's not launching an attack, so whatever's coming is going to be a 1 carrier attack. Alright, so we lost all 3 planes in this section, or all but 1. So we lost 2 planes in section 1. Probably 3 planes in section 1 of the 2nd Squadron off Yorktown. 1 in the 2nd section, 1 in the 3rd section. And he still has planes that are attacking us, 1 in the 4th section. And we're still nowhere near the target, and we have no escorts. We really have to hope that whatever is attacking us is like 1 or 2 planes and it's going to be out of ammo soon. There's at least 2 zeros I see, 1 over here weaving through the other side of the formation. Are we anywhere close to the target yet? Not really. Okay. Yorktown only has the 9 fighters. I don't know how much ammo those Japanese planes carry. I'm looking just to see if we see more planes fly out of formation. They're still swooping in on us, but... Oh, there goes another one. Maybe at some point a tail gunner would get lucky. I guess it's not really a tail gunner, it's kind of a rear gunner. And God, it's only 2 zeros. Maybe more now, it's hard to tell. They're definitely attacking in pairs. I'm not sure how much actual... I wonder if they like ran out of cannon ammo or something? Because they don't seem to be doing a lot of damage on these subsequent passes. I wonder if they're returning to base. I just saw one streak out there all by himself, way out there. Alright, the dive bombers are starting to get close. What is this? Is this something our 10 plus? I assume the 10 plus is being spotted by our scout planes. I think we've got some float planes up over the enemy. Wait, who are these guys? Maybe their float planes are turning. Nope, not that. Yorktown, let's do you. You don't have a lot of fighters, but I want you to get what you have up. 9 fighters scrambling. Enterprise is almost ready to launch, and then we can get her fighters up too. Hopefully they can get north to help the Yorktown, which I assume will be the target of the enemy air attack. Again, it's just one carrier that's hitting us, though. Right, these guys appear to be closing into the target. Looks like they're climbing. If Yorktown gets sunk while they're gone, they can always land on the Hornet and Enterprise. At least the dive bombers. The torpedo bombers probably won't have the range to get there. Are the torpedo bombers already in the attack? They're certainly in low. I guess we'll stick with the torpedo bombers then. I'm assuming they're going to turn and attack. Oh, these guys are already on the final. Why are you launching from over here? This seems like a horrible... You are not launching at anything. That was a waste. Please go for a broadside. Don't drop a parallel. I only usually send a handful of fighters, because usually they're all going to get shot down. But the goal there, for the most part, in my experience, is for the fighters just to disrupt the enemy cap enough for you to get through and to distract them. The enemy very rarely ever has, like, 30 planes in cap. Alright, dive bombers are dropping, apparently. Can you please turn toward the target? I don't want you dropping way out ahead of them. Although I understand why maybe you wouldn't want to fly under bombs that are dropping from the torpedo bombers. She really seemed to be listing pretty heavily. Why are you dropping over here? What a waste of a torpedo attack. There's no scenario where those are going to hit. Did those fish go right under the ship, maybe? There's a nice, good hit. Another good hit. Well, that one actually was just off the bow, or off the side of the ship. Second good, third good hit. You gotta hope at this point this enemy ship can't take much more. The problem is all the bombs are above deck. They're certainly crippling the ship to the point where she won't be of any use, but... The torpedo bombers should be able to make it back based on the new course they plotted for the Yorktown, but I guess we'll see. Is that everybody? Did everybody drop? The guy's gonna report a hit and you know it? You're probably right. It's real low in the water. Still making pretty good way, though. Oh, at least one more dropping bombs. These guys are in close. Good hit. Off the bow, or stern. Sorry. Naval lingo sometimes gets mixed up. So we got 4 distinct fires burning. So very low in the water, but she's still moving. Everybody's climbing, so everybody dropped. Okay. How are my other strikes doing? Okay. Alright, these guys are ready. They're just waiting for the order. Why can't they take off yet? They gotta get closer? I hate that mechanic. Just let me tell him to go. Don't protect me from myself. Let me tell him to go. So we gotta keep going this way for another 17 minutes. Meanwhile, I can't scramble to help Yorktown. We know there will be enemy aircraft coming off. Actually, will this change at all if I change my course? Did it get worse? Okay. There's the Yorktown strike coming back.
Romeo, enemy snooper. Vector 300, 80 miles. Angels high. Romeo, enemy snooper. Vector 300, 80 miles. Angels high.
I think the fighters from Yorktown are going off to try and hit the enemy aircraft before they even come in. Like while they're forming up. Maybe we're close enough to do that. I would like to be able to tell them to just take off now. I hope they're engaging the enemy. I guess let's take a look and see. Go get them, boys. Don't let them get your carrier. Hit them before they get you. Oh, and the enemy's already doing their little, like, evasive maneuvers. We're gonna get flak from the enemy. Did we ever figure out if the near miss was calculated? I don't know. I haven't heard if near misses are calculated. It would be a hell of a thing to shoot down enemy aircraft taking off from a carrier. You'd think they'd be pretty damn vulnerable. Tally ho, we're going in now. These guys are forming up for an attack and we're zooming in on them. So, in theory, we should at least disrupt their attack. Look at them all, they're banking around. I wonder how well the game calculates intercepting enemy planes while they're banking, like, and they're at low altitude. That's a lot of tracers. You'd think it would also mess up the enemy cap. Are you crashing? God damn it. Evading my ass. I think you got one. God damn. I'm gonna get all of Yorktown's aircraft shot down before the enemy raid even comes in. Shoot them. Shoot them! If you're gonna get shot to pieces because you're coming in... God damn, the enemy Zeros are tearing me apart. I don't really care about the zeros. The zeros are worthless if we don't have any combat air patrol, which I won't. So maybe engage the enemy bombers. You're just flying straight and level, letting them shoot you to pieces. Like, yes, you're using up their fuel and ammo to intercept and engage you, but it's not doing you any good. I think we may have shot... I know there was one enemy bomber at least trailing a ton of smoke and losing altitude. At least that guy fired on him. Is that my guy who's crashing? There's one enemy down. God damn. You're just gonna fly in formation behind your buddy. You're not gonna attack the enemy right in front of you. Guys, I need you to do more than you're doing. I know there's zeros. There's only 3 of you left. What are you doing? Where are you turning? Oh, there's both zeros? Yeah, it looks like there's 2 zeros behind. Alright, so all 3 of our fighters are being pushed off the enemy formation. It would have been fun to strafe the deck of a carrier with aircraft all lined up. Oh, someone just took out another enemy aircraft. That's definitely a formation of 3 down there. That was definitely an enemy bomber. Well, whoever you were shooting at just crashed. Is that a 0? Looks like it was a 0. There's a 0 behind you now. Definitely still too many enemy aircraft for my taste. We've dented them a bit. Okay, so I actually have 4 aircraft left. Can you dive on these guys and take them out? Looks like you're diving on the lead. I think? Maybe? Where are you at? Dude, just go for the first aircraft you see, honestly. Alright. You're for sure coming down on these guys, though, right? Yeah. Got him. Took some damage there. But another enemy plane down. I think that was a torpedo bomber. All right. We're starting to dig into them a little bit. There's still a lot of enemy aircraft. Not a lot of us, and there's still some Zeros swarming in around us. Oh, fuck. That one's done. Lost his wing. Where are you banking down to? Oh. Is this really just one carrier? It seems like maybe more. These are Vals. So the formations like this that are flying low in groups of three, I'm assuming are torpedo bombers. Oh, I didn't see any torpedo there, so I don't know if they dropped to evade or what. Which would be effectively the same as a kill. Got him. I'm curious if they dropped to try and evade. There's no torpedo on this guy, so I think they may have dropped to try and escape the wrath of my boys. Attacking them in a spawn kill. This is a spawn, you know. None of these guys, I don't think they, I mean, none of them attacked anytime recently. Junio looks like she's scrambling more fighters. Tsuikaku already got everybody off. I mean, if their torpedo bombers all dropped because of the attack, then that's a huge success. I don't know if their dive bombers would have. I didn't really see a swoop into their dive bomber formations, but maybe. One can hope. I mean, if that's true, then that's as good as a kill. Anyway. Alright, so they're doing their thing. Most of them are already dead. We've got 10 aircraft coming here. Are these more B-17s? Yeah. The B-17s are back? Guess who's back, back again. Fortress back, tell a friend. Okay, they're still a little ways off. What about the, so the nav strikes are spotted, but they haven't launched yet. I still can't give them the order to launch. Landing starts 15 minutes after they're out of fuel. Okay. Yorktown's retrieving her dive bombers from the previous attack. Part of the problem, the enemy is heading away from me. I suppose we could just launch on this task force to the north. Yeah, we'll do that. I don't love it, but I don't want Yorktown and Enterprise's decks to be clogged because they're just waiting to do something. I also don't love sending these guys out, presumably without a chance of taking heavy losses because there's a cap. But that's the northern force. I'm sure there's still more carriers in the south, but I don't see any right now. So I guess we'll hit this other force for the first time. So these guys are all going to try and land on Yorkie. Yorkie, Yorkie, Yorkie. Oi, oi, oi. All right, I'm just really hoping that we disrupted the enemy attack thoroughly. All right, so their dive bombers did not ditch. Their dive bombers still have payloads. But at least it looked like their torpedo bombers probably did. Still, I'm sure Yorktown will take substantial damage from 20 enemy dive bombers or so. Assuming that's who they launch against. Maybe I can get my fighters off before they get there, but I doubt it. It's going to take a while for Hornet and Yorktown or Enterprise to launch. But who knows? They're flying north. They're trying to get away from my fighters, or I don't think there's anybody left, but from what my fighters were. Enemy air attack? I think that was just a snooper. I don't think your Enterprise or your Hornet have taken any damage. Alright, well, we'll see how this thing plays out in our next episode, but we've been going for over an hour now, and this is roughly where the stream wrapped up. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here as we begin the strikes on the Northern Task Force for the first time, but we'll see how that plays out in the next episode. Until then, this is the Historical Gamer once again saying thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye!